Hey everybody, day 3 of America Fest 2023, and I've got Mr. Kevin Rubi of RUBI Films with us to chat about his projects that he's working on. Now, you guys all know we have a big heart for creatives. Lord Benjamin and I have a big heart for folks who do film and who are trying to invade the culture. And so we really wanted to get to talk to you. Of course, I laughed because Benjamin's production company is called Ballistic Blade, and I saw RUBI Rifle. I was like, you guys are kindred spirits. But Ruby's actually your last name.
Yep.
It's not just a gemstone.
Nope.
No. So tell our viewers, Kevin, a little bit about yourself, about RUBI Films, RUBI Rifle Films, and what has you here at America Fest.
Yeah. So my last name is Rubi. My name's Kevin Rubi, and I'm a big
R-U-B-I.
R-U-B-I. Get it right.
Not Y.
Get it right.
Get it right. Spell it. Okay.
And I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment, so I figured I'd combine my love for movies,
all right,
my last name, and rifle. Right?
I like it. I'm into it already.
So I've been an actor for, about, I want to say 15 years, right? Since high school.
Okay.
So it's always something that I've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I went to acting school.
Okay.
I got a degree in acting.
Okay.
And then during 2020, I didn't want to get vaccinated. I didn't want to, be in this world, right? And I lost a lot of friends, about 70% of my friends, right? Because, the acting world, the theater world, the arts world is very, very liberal.
Very liberal.
Nothing wrong
very
against
liberal.
that, but that's
it's
how
terrible. It's the worst.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to be a part of this. So I said, let me just start my own thing. My friend, I lost my girlfriend at the time because she didn't want to be a part of me.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's like,
oh, damn.
I lost everything.
Man.
In terms of friends and friendships and relationships.
All right, yep.
So I said, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I only have to gain.
Yeah.
So I started my own company. I hire my own actors. I write my own work. I produce my own work. It's all self-funded. We don't ask anyone for money, at least not yet.
Okay.
Thank God.
All right, all right.
But yeah, that's how we started.
I love it. This is what I hear from a lot of folks is there are these moments in history that are big turning points, right? For a lot of people, they say it was 2016. A lot of people say 2020. And I think that you sort of realize who your tribe is when you get tested in those ways, right? And
Absolutely.
So if you're saying, I'm choosing not to be vaccinated, or I'm choosing to do something different, I mean, it really separates the wheat from the chaff.
Absolutely.
And so what was it like for you when you kind of realized, maybe I'm not aligned with these folks. Maybe I got to do my own thing. Was there an actual, turning point? Was there a trigger? Was it something specific, or was it just like I'm not into this stuff anymore?
I'll tell you what really happened in a nutshell. It'll be really fast. But there was a Facebook post that I commented on. I had a friend of mine who I'm still friends with her. She's not my friend, whatever. But that's how it is. I'm still friends with all these people, but they don't want to be friends with me.
I don't hate you, but you hate me for being a pure blood. Leave me alone. Anyway, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But the post was basically like, if you vote for Trump, you're anti-LGBTQ, all this stuff. And I said, okay, so my family's Cuban, so if you vote for Bernie Sanders, then you're a communist, you're a socialist. And then that set off this...
Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I love it,
because I'm very confrontational. And so that set off every single person. My acting conservatory had about 100 students. About 90 students commented on that post, said Kevin's a racist, Kevin's anti-LGBTQ, Kevin's this, Kevin's that. Mind you, I mean...
You didn't even say I love Trump or anything. You just said the obvious thing, which is that Bernie Sanders is an out freaking communist socialist. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So then everyone went in on me. Like, there was a hashtag CancelKevinRubi on Facebook. I swear to God, I could even pull this up. Like, I'm not making this up. Among my friends. So I became like that right winger.
A pariah.
Yeah. And that's I lost my girlfriend. I lost all my friends. But you know what? You know what the beautiful thing about that is?
Tell me.
I thought I lost all my friends, but guess what? When I transitioned and I said I'm going to be true to myself, I made twofold the amount of friends, and
better
even
friends. Better friends
who are open. And guess what? Tomorrow, let's say I turn into this like socialist liberal, my friends now would still be my friends. It's crazy. It's crazy.
See, this is the thing. Okay, I'm getting it. You got me fired up, Kevin. Okay, see, this is the thing, is that our team. Now let's be we'll be real, okay?
Let's be real.
Some folks on the conservative side, not cool. Okay, actual jerk faces.
There's bad people on all sides.
All sides, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, the people, like when I hashtag walked away, right? Because that's what I say. I was part of the hashtag walk away movement. You know, I used to be a liberal. Friday I wore a shirt. It said, I used to be a liberal. Once upon a time I was a liberal.
That's good.
The people that I've made friends with and made relationships with that are conservative, that are Christian, they're more loving, they're more tolerant. I have better friends who are for me, who want things for me, and it's not this superficial relationship stuff. And like they want to, most of the people that are like us, we want to engage in conversation. We want to bring people over to our side. So we're not being ugly, calling people names and being buttholes. We're like, no. Come be with us. It is such a difference in affect. Mm-hmm. I'm going off a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's just such a different affect in the way people are. Yep. And so, how surprised were you when you realized that, you know, following your beliefs and being open and out? I totally just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, like how do you feel, like transitioning from one side?
I just got so excited. You're gonna have to cut. We're gonna have to edit this whole section out.
No, you're good. You're good. But you were asking me like, how do I feel transitioning? You know, getting into these new friends. I just lost a bunch of friends.
What was that like for you? Yeah. You know, especially if you're in film school or in acting school. Like, did you drop out of school? Did you what was the process after that happened?
That's a great question.
Hashtag cancel Kevin.
CancelKevinRubi. So thankfully this happened right after I graduated, about a year and a half after I graduated.
Okay.
Because if it was during acting school, I mean, I wouldn't have left. I would have been that guy still showing up and, you know, looking at everybody in the face. Like, what's up? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to say? I mean, that's just, you know, and they're not going to do anything. It's all virtue signaling. It's all they're preaching to the crowd. They're trying to fit in because they are afraid to go through what I went through, which is lose friends. Again, I'm not a victim or anything. None of that.
No.
Right? But, you know, they're afraid to lose friends. They're afraid about, you know, people making fun of them on the internet. And, you know.
The desire to belong, to be part of a community is incredibly strong.
Yes.
And people will absolutely forego their beliefs and values in order to stay part of the in-group. I mean, that's obviously how else would you have had Nazi Germany happen? Or Cuba. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, so now, Kevin, you are Cuban American.
No. I'm American.
Okay, you're American.
My family's Cuban.
Your family's from Cuba.
My mom would kick me in the booty if she heard me saying that I'm Cuban American.
Your heritage is from Cuba,
yes.
But you're obviously an American now. And so growing up with a family that actually had to flee communism, what was that like for you? What kind of encouragement, like what did you hear when you were a kid from your family?
Yeah, stories all the time. Stories of my mom going to the grocery store, getting kicked out, you know, getting beaten up for a loaf of bread because there wasn't enough in the line. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? These things are still happening today. Like we talk about, you know, all these like stories, whatever, like it happened years ago. No. My family is still being starved in Cuba today. Like you could look this up. I'm not making this up.
Wow.
So we grew up with stories all the time. My mom reminds me still to this day. She tells me, Kevin, remember this? Look what I went through. Look what your grandfather went through. My grandfather was a political prisoner in Cuba.
Oh my gosh.
He was whipped with a hose. He was beat up all the time. So, you know, this is the reality of people who are from Cuba, China, Venezuela, all these communist countries where you're not allowed to speak freely and believe your own thoughts. So, growing up with that, I see younger people today wanting to censor, you know, opposing viewpoints. I see younger people wanting to cancel people, wanting to fire them from their jobs, have their family turn against them. That is exactly how
that's
Cuba.
What's happening that's what's happening here.
Yeah, that's what happened in Cuba. It's what happened in China.
Playbook.
And guess what? If we don't stand up and if we don't speak the truth, respectfully, in my opinion, we're gonna end up like that. It's not like this is real.
It's not a question.
If you go to Cuba,
it's a matter of when, not if.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And now, what do you think about I was telling you before we started rolling that I met a young man who is also of Cuban descent.
Correct.
And he grew up with all the same stories and all the same things that you shared, because he would tell us, his grandparents would tell him these stories. And yet he is a raging liberal, and is like bought into the beliefs and all of these things. What do you think? How can two people with similar, heritage hear the same stories and come away with such a different belief or opinion or whatever?
Yeah, well, it's because there is a ruling party in Cuba, and we think that that there aren't people who believe those ideas. There are people who believe that. There are people who are still saying, no, the revolution will rise, and we'll be able to be independent. And that's what people believe, and they blame America.
Even this much further, like down the road.
Yes, and they blame America. So the what you call liberals, what we call communists, socialists in Cuba, they blame America for their problems because of an embargo, because of how the U.S. treats Cuba. But guess what? Wait, what embargo? Because you go to Havana and you have 5-star hotels. You go to Havana, you got margaritas and mojitos, and you got the best nice restaurants, and you got the president of Cuba with iPhones and iPads and laptops and computers.
So how do they get stuff?
Exactly. Because it's like what happens in California and New York. You overtax people, you want them to be broke, and then the elites always have money.
Because they're taking your stuff.
They're taking your money.
This is what it is. We saw one of the largest. People are saying, the largest transfer of wealth occurred over the last few years, and it is absolutely obvious to anybody who is watching. And I think that is. I think the good thing, at least, of the insanity of the last few years is it's starting to wake people up, right? So you have all these people who considered themselves liberal or leftist or a Democrat, and they're all saying no. They're rejecting it. They're waking up. They're not necessarily coming over to our team yet, but they know that whatever that is wrong.
Correct.
And so how do you see Ruby Rifle Films being able to kind of speak to those people, to bring them over to our side, to help facilitate the conversation?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think being in conversation with people is always great, but we need to change the culture. The movies, our podcasts, our music has to reflect how we're going through. And people say, no, don't be political. Well, guess what? Our movies and our songs from back then are all political.
And the other team is political.
And the other team they have control of everything.
Oh my gosh. All the music and the movies and everything. It's okay, sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're fine.
I interrupted.
But anyway,
getting
Ruby
all fired
Rifle
up, Kevin. Getting all fired up.
So Ruby Rifle Films is trying to enter this culture war, right? Trying to bring a different perspective, a more pro-American perspective to films. And that doesn't necessarily mean that our movie is going to be like, go Trump and go DeSantis and go TPUSA. No. It's just bringing back normal movie content, back normal stories without any gender indoctrination, without any LGBTQ stuff, without any CRT, without any crazy ideology. It's crazy. We're not asking. I speak for myself, but I'm not asking to have this Trump, this Republican movie. No. We just want normal movies. Don't give me anything.
Don't propagandize me when I'm going to be entertained.
Correct.
Is that too much to ask?
Correct.
Okay, and that's what I think that is really smart, and that's we have been saying for years now. It's why we started Generally Irritable. It's why we do what we do. We specifically want to highlight culture warriors, people who are trying to produce content, who want to just be part of the culture and are fighting back against. Like you said, it doesn't have to be anti-whatever.
Correct.
It just has to not be crazy leftist.
Correct.
Right? So now share with everyone, Kevin, what is your most current project? Where can people go find whatever movie you got going on? How do they find out more?
Sure.
Yeah.
So you can visit www.rubirifle.com. That's our website.
And remember, RUBI, not Y.
RUBI rifle.com. And you can look at our films there. You can see our very first short film. It's about 10 to 11 minutes. It's short. You can watch it really quick. It's called Conspiracy Theorist. You can watch it on there.
Do they have tinfoil hats on?
We do not have tinfoil hats on, but we got these crazy masks on that look like this dystopian world where, we could be led to there one day where, mandated vaccines twice a year, every year for, another man-made pandemic. But anyway, that's the first movie you can watch. You can follow us on Instagram at Ruby Rifle as well. Our current short film is called Maximo. It's not out yet because it's touring festivals in Florida.
Okay.
But as soon as that comes out, you can go up, again, RubiRifle.com, and you can watch it there, okay?
All right, excellent. What about socials? If people want to follow you on social media and stuff like that, where do they find you?
Yeah, my personal Instagram is Kevin Rubi. It's KEVINRUBI. And then the Rubi Rifle page is at Rubi Rifle.
All right, sounds good. Okay, now before we close, what have I forgotten to ask you? What do you want to make sure our listeners hear, see?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to share with them?
I would say just be respectful of your ideas and always have true intentions when you're speaking to someone. It's not always the best thing to fight with people when you're trying to, have a conversation.
Yeah.
Just share your idea and don't ever back down. Never back down to these mobsters. That's what the other side is. It's a mob, and they're trying to influence you to, scare you and, throw you off your, tracks. But no, just keep doing what you're doing and be respectful while you're doing it.
I love it. I love it, Kevin. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Yes.
You guys definitely go check it out. Maybe you're going to see a collab in the future between production companies.
That would be cool.
All right, guys.